Our first segment here will be the Pomona Dragstrip. It was run by the Pomona Valley Timing Association. For you youngsters viewing this, you'll notice there's no grandstands, no guardrails, or elaborate timing facility. This dragster right here was the first slingshot dragster designed by Melvin Dodge. The gentleman getting out of it was Calvin Rice. He was the 1955 top eliminator at the NHRA Nationals held back in Kansas City. That was probably the first slingshot dragster designed by Melvin Dodge. The Curtis Craft sports car here running a Cadillac engine. You're going to see in a few moments also a roadster that used to run rear engine, injected Chrysler engine, and run by the Hensley and Cook team. They turned the fast time of 157 at the Santa Ana Dragstrip, running high gear only. Both these sports cars right here run Cadillac engines in them. Did you notice that building down at the end of the drag strip right next to the finish line? That was a pump house that the drag racers found. I'm going to interrupt here for a second. This is El Cabello, a sports car built by Yak Miller, got an Oldsmobile engine in it, and he was quite a fierce competitor in the Mexican road race. Anyway, the drag racers of Pomona finally petitioned to get that thing removed. This is the Arden dragster of Mickey Thompson. Did you Ford owners know that Arden overhead valves was designed by a Chevrolet engineer? Arcus Duntov designed them. Here's Calvin Rice, the winner of the first NHRA National back in 1955 at Kansas City. Calvin won that race at 144 miles an hour running a flathead engine. Look at all the old cars. Boy, if you were a car collector and had all these right now, you could forget about your retirement fund. Just sell a couple of these to get you along for quite a while. Nobody thought about the old cars back then. There's the pump house again. We're up toward the finish line right here. In about the next couple of races, you'll see this roadster run by Hensley and Cook. It's a white and a red body on it. And they were really, here it is. The Hensley Cook roadster, high gear only, injected Chrysler engine, and they turned 157 at Santa Ana Dragstrip. Here's Art Crispin, car number 25. Art, at the Kansas City Nationals, was running against the Bean Bandits, and he blew a transmission. He had a Chrysler engine in it. Art had the fastest time of almost 150. When he raced the Bean Bandits, he blew a tranny, and that blown transmission, that's Mickey Thompson right there to interrupt. When he blew the transmission, that probably cost him the national championship, because he was really one of the fastest cars out there. The body on Mickey Thompson's car is mostly cardboard. You get a pretty good shot of the pump house in some of these pictures, and later on it'll disappear after the drag racers after finally got a petition up and had the pump house removed. I chummed around a lot with Hayden Profit. So if you see Hayden a lot in these videos, I'm not really a PR man. It may sound like it, but it's just that on my days off, this is Hayden right here, a small blowed Chevy engine. It may sound like I'm a PR man for him, but he just was a good friend, and we chummed around with him a lot. When Hayden first built this car, he run just a Corvette engine, had a fuel injector in it, and no supercharger, turned 140 with it. And later he put the Chevy engine in it with a 471 blower. And he turned 165, 166 with the Chevy engine in it. The Pomona Dragstrip has a slight downhill grade, probably 1 to maybe just a little over 1%. I took a bicycle. Oh, look at the neat intake manifold on that flathead dragster. You'll get another shot of it here in a second. I went over to the dragstrip here about a year ago, and with my bicycle, I pedaled a couple of times, and I coasted all the way to the finish line. But I guess it's not enough to endanger any of the records that they set out there saying you're racing downhill. But you notice that some of the cars come up with the line, and the pit crews have to come up and hold the car to keep it from coasting into the ET lights he's doing right here. You'll also notice that there were no burnouts. I'd like to know when the first burnout was done. If any of you know, give me a call. I'd be curious to when people started doing burnouts. Back in the old days, they used to just wet the tires down so they could break them loose, and they smoked them all the way, or the better part of the way. If you didn't smoke them, you just lug on the starting line. This Studebaker here, run by Junior Thompson, got a Chevy in it with a 471 blower on it. Junior was the very first competitor with this car. He ran Santa Ana a lot with it, and he had a McCullough blower on it for a while. Then he went to the 670 or the 471 blower. Isky Special, B-gas, and whenever Junior came out, the competition was kind of growing because he was really the car to beat out there. From the looks of the blower, I would say he had a 671 on it here. Doug Cook also had a similar Studebaker with a 671 on it. Junior Thompson ran the Isky cam, and Doug Cook ran, I believe, the Howard cam. And you'll notice they had to hold the cars back there just a little bit. Of course, it was windy, and we noticed there's no Christmas tree, just the flagmen out there risking life and limb to get the cars flagged off. They'd wetting the tires down. That was the procedure back then. And you better have your hand out there when you start, or you can pull back the stub. But usually they give the driver a little knock on the helmet to let them know that everything was clear. Now the Pumphouse is gone. They finally eliminated it. This car right here is run by Bob and Jim Brissetti. I have another car that they ran at Bonneville and El Mirage Draw Lake. You'll see it a little later at El Mirage. I attach a movie camera to the car, and we go down the El Mirage Draw Lake at 180 miles an hour. Bob ran a consistent 135/40 with this car. Well, Pomona probably has, this Corvette, get back to Pomona in a second. This Corvette run by Lloyd Porter from Ernie Porter Chevrolet in Pasadena, has a blown Corvette engine in it, and it probably was the fastest Corvette around at that time. Pomona probably has the longest shut-off area. You can go forever to shut off. For some reason, if you don't make it, you can make a turn to the left, and you can continue on down into the fairground. So they literally have unlimited shut-off area, which all the fast cars really appreciated. Now, when this video was done, the cars are turning up close to 300 miles an hour, and if your parachute doesn't open up, you run out of short shut-off area very fast. Again, you youngsters are saying, boy, this thing is really bare. There's no guardrails or anything. Brissetti brothers. They had a blown Chrysler in this. Blower was mounted in front of the engine. A lot of the fellows built their own cars, like this Crosby station wagon modified. But the most popular chassis out there were Scotty Finn and Dragmaster. Not all of these videos are going to follow in sequence, because I took a lot of these films and some of them got out of sequence, so once in a while you might see the Pumphouse jump back up in this, because I didn't watch what I was doing as far as the sequence goes. Here's Hayden Profit, runs a little Scotty Finn chassis, supercharged engine in it. And we're going to take some neat rides on board this car a little later at the Long Beach and Colton drag strips. Also, when we visit El Mirage Draw Lake, you're going to see a roadster spin out at over 150 miles an hour. When we visit Bonneville, which is later in this video, you'll see a 180 mile an hour car spin out, and he just rides it out. And you're going to see a 53 Studebaker go end over end at the finish line about 180 miles an hour. Car was driven by Joe LaCosta. We're also going to visit the Henderson drag strip, which is about 30 miles out of Las Vegas. And we're also going to visit some more shots at the Colton drag strip. Here we are, Hayden. And again, I'm not a PR man. I just appears that way because I shot a lot of him. Here's that unique manifold on that flathead dragster. I think they were trying a little ram induction here. And we're going back a long way, so I don't remember how the car did. This is Doug Cook. He has a Studebaker similar to one that Junior Thompson ran. And Doug Cook ran a blown Chevy in it, ran a Howard cam. And he and Junior Thompson were pretty well evenly squared off. This Pontiac here, run by Lloyd Cox. His wife drove this car, and maybe next to Peggy Hart, who held the record of Santa Ana for a women driver at 125. Carol, his wife Carol, is probably about the best woman driver around. If you back that up, you'll see Junior Thompson leaning over Doug Cook's shoulder, checking Junior out to make sure everything was nice and legal. He and Junior were good friends in the pit area, but boy, when it came down to the drag strip, their friendship ended, and it was dog eat dog. But they were very, very good friends. But like anybody else, when you line up on the quarter mile, hey, friendships end. It's who gets down to the first. Here's probably what was, at that time was the world's fastest Corvette, run by Lloyd Porter. This Pontiac right here is run by Tom Richie. Tom Richie was one of the stock car drivers back in the old days, and everybody protested, but he always came out stock. This Studebaker taking off right here is run by Doug Cook. It's similar to the one that Junior Thompson runs. He runs a blown Chevy engine, only he runs a Howard cam instead of an Isky. I believe this red Corvette here was run by a fellow named Bob Mandel. If I'm wrong on it, well, that's the way it goes. We're going back about 35 to 40 years. But he had a half-inch stroker in this Corvette. How would you like to have these Corvettes now? Again, the retirement fund would be pretty well taken care of. This Corvette had a beautiful sounding engine in it, and Lloyd was a good driver. They had trouble trying to get the thing tuned up and get it to run, but boy, when this car ran, it really screamed down the drag strip. Oh, I wish I remembered the name of this roadster. I should have kept better records when I was doing this filming years ago. I keep trying to catch the name on the back of the car, so maybe some of you that are viewing this that are can remember can back it up a little bit and catch the name of the fellow running that modified Roadster. It had a blown Chrysler engine in it, and that's about all we can tell you about it right now. Hayden Profit again. Hayden later on went into running jet cars with his son driving. He also ran some rocket cars. And Hayden had a few accidents over a period of years. Got burnt pretty bad a couple times. But Hayden right now is retired and living in Texas, in case some of you are wondering, like, I wonder where he is now. He's living in a little town in Texas called Powell. And we're doing the voiceover on this thing. Originally, this video was done in '92. We went back and redid the video to improve the quality of the picture. And the voiceover we're doing right now was done in 1995. It's the same thing as we did in '92, except that we just redid it, a little better quality picture than what the original one was. But the narration is basically about the same. I'll stumble once in a while on it, so kind of bear with me. I'm doing this with no script in front of me, just trying to go back in my memory bank. And there's a few places in my memory bank that don't want to open up on me. So if I stumble, just kind of bear with me. If you look at this area right now, we're looking at, there's a big multi-million-dollar timing tower in the background, and then we're talking about 1995. Big multi-million-dollar timing tower, bleachers on both sides, all extending the full length of the drag strip. So you youngsters that are watching this, you're seeing some rare footages about how Pomona was back in the old days. All they had was, they didn't have a reaction time light. All they had was just an ET light. Well, when they pull up on the starting line, they're lining up just shy of the ET light. There is no reaction timer. Now here's Hayden with a little different chassis in it. He runs Scotty Fenn chassis, but he experimented with a couple of different chassis. So these films, as I said earlier, are just a little bit out of sequence. So if someone goes, hey, what happened? This is a different chassis. Well, that's I made a mistake by not getting these things in the exact same sequence. He's got a different chassis here. A little later on, earlier in the video, you saw a different chassis. 57 Chevy. When they first came out, they blew a lot of clutches and they blew a lot of rotors, because the engine, when it would torque from the starting line, the engine would torque back, the ignition would jam against the firewall, bust the rotor, and the car would go blip, 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 and then they would stop about 50 feet off the starting line. So it took a little while to figure out what was going on. So finally the guys got a hammer out, took the ignition out, got a hammer, beat the firewall back. So when they stood on it real hard, the engine couldn't lift up and go against the firewall, cocking the distributor cap off to one side and breaking the rotor on it. And they also had to go to specialty clutches, because they blew quite a few clutches in these cars. The engine was a high winding engine, but the clutch really wasn't quite enough for what the engine was capable of going. We're back in a different chassis in Hayden's car right here. It's a Scotty Fenn chassis, but it's one of the earlier ones. And you notice the engine is right out of a Corvette. Still got the Rochester fuel injector on it. And that wasn't Hayden driving. That was a friend of his driving. The car would run 140 with just a stock fuel injected Corvette engine in it. The Bob Brassetti Roadster. We're going to take some interesting rides later. Not in this car, but another car at El Mirage Draw Lake. Here's Junior Thompson. Supercharged Chevy engine. Runs an Isky cam. And this car was really a screamer off the line. Very impressive. The crowd really loved to watch that car run. This is our Corvette engine dragster again. Got a stock Corvette in it, Rochester fuel injection. Bob Mandel in the half-inch stroker Corvette. Modified Roadster, blown Chrysler engine. I hope some of you old-timers can remember the engine in this beautiful Roadster. Back in the old days, they allowed a couple of jump starts. Like if you kind of got ahead of your competition a little bit and the starter said, no, back up. You could do it a couple of times, but that was about it, then you're disqualified. 57 Chevys were really hot, as we mentioned earlier, but they were really rough on clutches for a while. Here's Hayden Profit working on a little sports car. The gentleman was having an ignition problem, so Hayden volunteered to go over and help him try to figure out what was wrong with it. All he had to do really was just adjust the points. Now you can see the Rochester fuel injector on that Corvette. Just got a little scoop over where the air cleaner would normally be, picking up the fuel flow into the injection unit. This is an early Scotty Fenn chassis. Couple little stock Chevys here, both Scotty Fenn chassis. 59 Chevy El Camino, that'd be worth a few dollars right now if we had it. Curtis Craft sports car, Cadillac engine,